everyone, welcome back to my channel Microbiology Easy Notes. If you like this channel, please like, subscribe, comment and share. Today's topic, understanding of disease and basics of medical microbiology. So what is disease? Any disturbance in the normal structural and functional state of the body associated with certain signs and symptoms is called disease. When we are healthy, we feel great and able to do our daily routine without any discomfort. But when we are under the grip of any disease, we don't feel normal. We cannot do our routine tasks or cannot do it efficiently. Living beings like animals, humans, plants, all are susceptible for some kind of diseases. What are the causes of disease? It can be genetical, where defective genes or absence of certain genes is responsible for disease, like in Down syndrome. Disease can be due to deficiency of some microelements in the body, such as lack of iron leads to anemia. Aging is also responsible for the disease. With the age, eye becomes weak and cataract happens. Disease also happens due to external environmental factors. For example, prolonged exposure of asbestos fiber can cause asbestosis, which is a lung disease. And disease can also occur because of harmful microbial agents including bacteria, virus, fungi and nematodes, etc. Example, Vibrio cholera is a bacteria which is responsible for cholera disease. What are the events involved when microbe cause the disease? These events are transmission and portal of entry, adhesion, invasion, replication inside the cell, onset of symptoms, and finally disease. First event during the disease is transmission. This is the mechanism by which an infectious agent enters the host. Transmission of microorganisms occurs directly from one person to another by one or more of the following means: by coughing or sneezing on another person, by touching an infected person, by touching contaminated soil or a contaminated surface. It can be airborne transmission. If the microorganisms remain in the air for a longer period of time, it can cause airborne transmission. By contaminated food or water sources, via intravenous drug, via transfusion or organ transplants, and it can also happen by vectors. For example, malaria occurs due to mosquito. Here, mosquito is a vector which carry malaria parasite in its body. Portal of entry. It is an entry point of the body by which microorganisms get access to reach particular body part. Portal of entry can be upper respiratory tract. When we inhale, microbes enter in the body via nose. Conjunctiva is a little opening in the corner of the eye. When microbe reach at this point by dirty hand or by any other means, it enters into the body. Portal of entry can be gastrointestinal tract, which involves mouth, esophagus, stomach, large and small intestine. While eating contaminated food, harmful microbe can reach inside us. Another entry point can be urethra or vagina. During unsafe sexual intercourse, microbe can infect. And last but not the least, skin is also a portal for microbial entry. When there is a cut, bruises or insect bite on the skin, microbes can enter into the body. Beside these, ear, placenta and anus can also be a portal of entry for microbes. Adhesion. Once the microbe reaches inside the body, microbe sticks or adheres to the cell of a tissue. If it does not adhere to the cell, body fluid like mucus sweep it away. So what are the tools microbe have to adhere? Fimbriae, villi or surface proteins help it to attach from the host cell. Invasion. After adherence, microbe invades the host cell and enters into the cell. Again, proteins present in microbe help to invade the cell, or microbe can enter via phagocytosis process where it engulfed by host cell. Replication. Microbial cell then takes over the host cell machinery by using its toxins, enzymes and other protein and stops metabolic processes of host cell which help the cell to function. Now genetic material of microbial cell replicates and produces other microbial cells. Onset of symptoms. After replication, new microbial cells start infecting nearby cells by running same course, adhere, invade and replicate. When microbes spread in whole organ or in the body, symptoms starts to appear. An individual feel uncomfortable and gradually falls sick. Now this condition is called disease. Let's take one example. Vibrio cholerae, the causative agent of cholera, enters via oral route when person drink contaminated water. It crosses stomach acid barrier and reaches to small intestine and adheres to its epithelial cells. Now bacterium produces cholera toxins and engulfed by epithelial cell of intestine. Now Vibrio cholera multiply inside the cell. With increasing number of cells, toxin amount also increases. Then symptoms like diarrhea, vomiting, etc. appears. Then symptoms become severe and finally cholera disease is established. Just now we understood progression of the disease, how disease takes place, what are the events involved in any disease. Now what are the stages of any infectious disease? The first stage is incubation period. It is the time period between pathogenic microbe enters in the body and symptoms starts to appear. At this stage, microbe starts to multiply but their number is insufficient to cause signs and symptoms of the disease. Therefore, it is also known as no sign and symptom phase where person is not aware about the infection. Different diseases have different incubation periods. The second stage is prodromal period. During this phase, the pathogen continues to multiply and the host begins to experience general signs and symptoms of illness, which typically result from activation of the immune system, such as fever, pain, soreness, swelling, and inflammation, etc. These signs and symptoms are too general to indicate a particular disease. It is a period of vague and general symptoms. The third stage of disease is illness. Following the prodromal period is the period of illness, during which the signs and symptoms of disease are most obvious, specific and severe. At this stage, disease can be clearly diagnosed. Decline period. The period of illness is followed by the period of decline. During this phase, number of pathogens begins to decrease and the signs and symptoms of illness also begin to decline. However, during the decline period, patients may become susceptible to developing secondary infections because their immune systems have been weakened by the primary infection. And the final stage is convalescence. During this stage, the patient generally returns to normal functions, although some diseases may cause permanent damage to the body which cannot be fully repaired. The thing to remember is infectious diseases can be contagious during all the 5 stages. To summarize all the stages of infectious disease, the first is incubation period, which is a no sign or symptoms phase. Next is prodromal period, which is a vague and general symptom phase. Next is illness, which is most severe sign and symptoms phase. Next is decline phase. It is a declining signs and symptoms phase. And last is convalescence period, which is again no sign or symptoms phase where patient is recovered from the illness. Some important terms which are frequently used in medical microbiology are pathogenesis. Development and progression of the disease is called pathogenesis. It is a biological mechanism which involves a series of events that occur at the cellular and molecular levels. For example, dysregulation of normal cellular processes, abnormal immune responses, and genetic mutations, etc. Pathogenicity. Ability of a microbe to cause a disease is called pathogenicity, and the microbe is called pathogenic microbe or pathogen. So pathogenicity is a quality of an organism whether it is able to cause disease or not. And on their ability to cause a disease, they can be non-pathogenic, pathogenic, and opportunistic. Non-pathogenic are harmless microbes. They stay outside the cell and they can not cause any disease. Pathogenic are able to cause disease due to presence of certain genes, proteins, toxins, and enzymes, etc. They can invade the cell and cause the disease. Opportunistic, when body is weak, immune system is compromised, microbes present inside the body or outside the body able to cause disease is called opportunistic microbes. Virulence. Degree of pathogenicity is called virulence, or at what extent pathogen can cause disease. Basically, it is disease producing power of pathogen. Pathogenicity is quality of microbe and virulence is the quantity of that pathogenicity. Etiology. Etiology refers to the study of the cause of disease or disorders. Why, when, and how disease is happening. It is due to genes, environmental factors, microbes, or lifestyle choices. Etiological agent. Cause of the disease is called etiological agent. Who is the culprit behind disease? Infection. Invasion and multiplication of pathogen in the body eventually lead to the disease is called infection. Contagious. A person having a disease transmit the infection to another person by any sort of contacts is called contagious and disease is called contagious disease. Reservoir. The reservoir of an infectious agent is the habitat in which the agent normally lives, grows and multiplies. Reservoir can be humans, animals and the environment. Pathology. Pathology is the study and diagnosis of disease. It involves examining tissues, organs, body fluids and cells to understand the nature and cause of the disease.